Honestly, I thought the scenery alone was the flex, but then he backflipped it, and there's really no topping that.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, everyone, there's a ton of puck on tonight, including 5 Canadian teams in action. But the 2 we're going to focus on are the Leafs and Oilers, for very specific reasons. Toronto hosts Columbus, and the Leafs come into this one having registered a point in 7 straight games. And they've lost in regulation just once in their last 15 overall, which is wild. This run has them just 5 points behind Boston, with a game in hand for first in the Atlantic. So it's going to be a battle all season long for the top spot. That battle can be won, though, if Austin Matthews keeps scoring like he currently is. In Toronto's last 5 games, Matthews has 7 goals, and he's found the back of the net in 3 straight contests. When it comes to the Rocket race, he's tied with Brock Besser for the league-leading goals with 21. But he's played 3 less games than he and Nikita Kucherov, who is second with 19. With Kyle Connor out hurt, Matthews is now looking like the favorite to win the award for the 3rd time in his career. Speaking of awards, the Oilers would win the Comeback Team of the Year award if that was a thing. Edmonton is aiming for a 9th straight win tonight when they host the Lightning. And if they get it, they'd be alone in the second wildcard spot in the West, which seemed impossible just 2 weeks ago. That said, this next stretch of games is as tough as you'll find. In their next 7 games, the Oilers face 4 teams currently in a playoff spot. 2 teams tied with the Capitals with 31 points in the wildcard race, and a San Jose team who is 6-2-2 in their last 10 overall. It's a tough schedule, but Edmonton is hotter than any other team right now. McDavid has worked his way to 7th in the Art Ross race. Zach Hyman is top 10 in goals in the league. And Evan Bouchard is behind only Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes in points for defensemen. And then there's Stuart Skinner, who is 7-0 in his last 7 starts, and has a .935 save percentage over that span. This is a different Edmonton team if they come out of the stretch with 4 or 5 wins. Look out rest of the West. If you went to bed early last night, you may have missed some of the most bizarre post-game antics from the association that you will ever see. The Bucks were hosting the Pacers in a rematch of their in-season tournament semifinal last week. And if you remember, that game ended with some drama too, with Tyrese Halliburton mocking the Dame Time celly after splashing a dagger to punch Indy's ticket to the final. And Milwaukee didn't seem to forget that, as Giannis not only poured in a career best but also a franchise record 64 points, to go with 14 rebounds and 4 steals. And those 64 points came with just 28 shots, which is the most points with under 30 field goal attempts in NBA history. He's also averaging over 40 points a game in his last 10 games against Indy, which is the first time a player has ever done that over a 10-game span since Michael Jordan in the late 80s against Philly. But the game was chippy throughout, with a total of 8 techs and 1 flagrant assessed. And after the final buzzer sounded, mayhem ensued, as we see Giannis taking off for the locker room in a dead sprint. In real time, no one seemed to know what was going on, but apparently he was under the impression that the Pacers stole the game ball from his record-setting performance. And when Giannis returned from the tunnel, he was still without the ball he was looking for, and got right in Halliburton's face. The Greek freak freaking out in a way that we usually don't see from him. And Pacers coach Rick Carlisle tried to explain the situation at the podium.
It was Oscar Tshiebwe's first official NBA point, so we always get the game ball. We were not thinking about Giannis's franchise record, so we grabbed the ball, and a couple of minutes later, several of their players ended up in our hallway, and there was a big I don't know what to call it, a fracas, melee, whatever. I don't think any punches were landed, but my general manager got elbowed in the ribs by one of their players. Unfortunate situation. We don't need the official game ball. There's 2 game balls there. We could have taken the other one, but it didn't need to escalate to that.
I mean, of course, not funny. Somebody got elbowed in the ribs. It's just his face during this presser is funny. Like, this is the look of disappointment from your dad. It's like they're not mad, they're just disappointed. This is that. So right, it seems like Indy was saying it was unintentional. They were just taking it to commemorate their rookie's first NBA point. But Carlisle also admitted that they didn't need to take the official game ball. But did they, is the question. Because video seems to show their staff being handed the actual game ball after the buzzer.
Can you confirm that you have the game ball from tonight?
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I have the ball, but I don't know if it's a game ball. It doesn't feel like the game ball to me. It feels like a brand new ball.
Listen, whatever Giannis says, I trust, I believe. So I don't think he has the real game ball, but it's fine. Mama's gonna have it. And I guess the question is, what is really going on here, and does it even matter? Because it didn't stop there. Giannis posted this on Twitter after the melee. I'm not calling it X. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you want me to call it X. I'm not going to do that. Like, what the hell is hashtag yum yum sauce? And 3 minutes later, Halliburton had a little cat back of his very own. Whatever the issue, I'm just so happy that NBA spills as much tea as they do. There's no other league like it. I don't know if anything could really top that drama on the hardwood tonight, but you could check out 2 of the top 3 teams in the West to find out. We've got the Mavs hosting the T-Wolves for you tonight on TSN2 at 8:30 Eastern. Guess what? It's Roma time. I did it right this time, right? It's ladies' night. We've got Game 3 in the rivalry series between the United States and Canada tonight. The Americans won each of the first 2 games on home soil, but the series is back in Canada tonight. Remember last year the US won the first 3 games, before Canada stormed back to win the last 4. But ladies, let's make it a little less dramatic this year, eh? No, I'm just kidding, I love the drama. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN4. We're just 12 days away from the official start of the World Juniors, and yesterday Canada revealed its 22-player roster. And although the final cuts have been made, Team Canada's roster is not quite finalized. They're keeping 1 forward spot open in case it's a last-second loan from an NHL team, as 6 players are currently playing in the pros who are eligible for the juniors. Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, Shane Wright, Kevin Korchinski, Zach Benson, and Matthew Poitras. Bedard, Fantilli, Wright, and Korchinski all won gold last year in Halifax, but Benson and Poitras have never played in the tourney and would be the most likely candidates to get a chance. If none are made available, then one of the final 4 forwards cut yesterday will have a shot to claim that final spot. Of the 12 forwards that have been named to the squad, the youngest might be Canada's biggest star, as 17-year-old Macklin Celebrini is a projected top overall pick in next year's NHL draft. Despite missing Tuesday's game with an undisclosed injury, Saskatoon Blades defenseman Tanner Mullendick suited up for yesterday's loss to U Sports and did enough to crack the roster as the youngest defenseman on the squad. Meanwhile, Dominic DiVincentis was the only goalie that unfortunately did not make the final roster, after giving up a game-high 3 goals on 14 shots. Team Canada heads to Sweden on Thursday to open up their training camp, with 3 pre-tournament games opening up on Tuesday against Denmark, before things get going for real on Boxing Day against Finland. That's all for today. We'll see you back in tomorrow 3 Eastern, no Pacific! Have a good one.